Welcome back to the second and final episode of turboing my TD42 GQ Patrol. In the previous episode we got a good start on the turbo, completing valve clearances, exhaust, manifold and a Garrett turbo from High Performance Diesel with the oil and water lines for the turbo hooked up. We got a 12mm pump in, new snorkel and airbox, fresh set of injectors and a service using some Ryco gear. That brings us up to date with this episode where we are finishing everything off, getting the intercooler mounted up, new clutch, exhaust and a heap of cool other bits. Make sure to stick around as we take the rig for its first drive on the road and see how it performs. Proudly supported by Tread, Superior Engineering, and in part by
Holy God!
You like that?
Isn't that cute? It looks like nice on that.
Ready to party.
Ready to party.
After everyone absolutely loved the rose gold we did on the outside of the GQ, we thought we better paint the rocker cover the same colour. So we got it done there now, ready to go in.
Just silver top sweeties, bro.
How's the crank, mate? She ain't a two-piece feed yet.
It looks good for now.
No cracks in her.
You know, cracks anywhere I can see. It looks good, mate. She's just stock silver top. 700,000.
Pat's just cut that hole in the side of the sump there, and then we'll weld a bung on and that'll be good to go back in.
We're TIG welding it, like it'll penetrate better. Like a MIG weld, it's easy to get like a pinhole and it'll leak oil. So welded inside, welded outside.
So oil return for the turbo ready to go into the sump.
Yeah.
What's that? Is that the
That's billet.
High Performance Diesel billet intake?
Intake
goes on
elbow.
Intake elbow.
HPD. High Performance Diesel GQ, mate.
So how come a billet one?
Oh no, they look pretty.
Yeah, looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks pretty. So this is the, like, I put a fitting in and then hose comes off for the boost compensator, one for the wastegate.
Yeah, sweet.
One for your boost gauge.
Now, do we want to start World War III with top mount versus front mount?
Mate, YouTube will do that themselves.
So basically with the intercooler we went top mount primarily because that was where we had space for it.
And you got a winch.
Yeah, because on the front it has to fill this space here. So it basically comes into like right there. You even have to cut the back of your grill to make it work. I've got a big high mount winch coming and we didn't bring the bar out far enough for the high mount to fit without cutting the grill a bit. So I have to cut the grill a little bit to make the high mount winch fit. So because of that, unless I pull my AC condenser out, which I don't want to do because I would like to have aircon, then the high mount is not going to fit there. So simple logistics, top mount. This is a Series 2, this is the big one. Plenty of fresh cool air up the top there, and they provide all the piping and everything to make it work, bracketry and stuff. There's a fan. It's a pretty sweet looking intercooler.
It's not bad. Big. It's big, bro. You see this here? Temperature sensor bolts onto that little flat bit up there.
Yeah.
Tells the fan when to come on. Bit of spudgy, you know. I'm gonna bang it on. So this one here, I'll run down to this for the compensator. Then this one, it's got to run into that red arc box for the boost gauge. And my third one, normally you just run it straight from the turbo to the wastegate, and there's not one, so I'm gonna have to run one from all the way over here. In the picture it went this way, so hopefully it's right.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
I didn't read it, I just went from the picture.
Just threw the instructions over your shoulder.
I can't read.
Gent from Punchy didn't get taught.
Nah, mate. Doesn't that just look fucking sick? Looks really good, eh?
Yeah.
It's real sparkly.
So good.
I quite like it, Tyler.
Yeah. Stands out.
You know what they say, Tyler?
What?
Stand out or miss out.
So this is a big bracket they provide for it.
Yeah, it's 3 pieces. Bro. Mocking up stuff for the intercooler.
So we got to get it all sitting there so we know where to cut the bonnet. Is that right?
Yeah, they want you to mount it and then measure from side of the guard to the thing, because obviously every GQ, their template's not very accurate.
Yeah.
And it moves. So if you want your intercooler to actually work and seal, you have to measure it.
We got the intercooler lined up in the spot on the bracket. You just got to get the piping into the intake and the turbo. So it's just, yeah, the 2 pipes, 1 in, 1 out. So now we got to cut this bonnet up with a big hole for the top mount and the bonnet entry snorkel.
It's not the best template, but it works.
Look at that, bro.
A bit easier
It's
to
always
see.
fun, eh? Well, I'm special.
You got some safety glasses, mate. Everyone's going to be blowing up.
Yeah, I don't. I do. Can't you see me wearing them?
He's got the safety squint.
Safety squint. What we got there?
Cut her up. So there's a few layers in there you got to cut through.
Still need to take a little bit more out of there, yeah.
We'll test fit and see, but little test fit of the snorkel there, just needs trimming in a couple of spots. Normally how it is with most snorkel installs, you sort of got to muck around a little bit before you get it perfect. Paddle trim it up a bit, then we'll refit it. And then Pat's cut a hole in the bonnet here where the bonnet scoop obviously going to go, drilled holes around so you can mount it, and then that'll give you airflow for your top mount.
Look at that.
You reckon we just do one thing?
Is that wheel set?
Yeah, that'll work. That's the bonnet scoop all mounted there on the bonnet. What we're just trying to work out is the best way to seal up where the snorkel's been cut in here, because you got 2 layers, and if you don't strengthen it properly, it won't pass engineering, and the bonnet loses its structural integrity, so it can start bending through there. So we ended up deciding just to weld it. In the end, it was the strongest and safest way to do it. It has damaged the paint a little bit, but can't do anything about it. I'll just have to get touched up at some point. At least now I know it's nice and strong and past engineering, and the bonnet's not gonna fold in half on me. So all we did was use the metal. We cut out the middle to cut pieces out of there, line them in, then tack them up, and he's obviously shone it all up, give it a bit of paint and stuff. Just like silicone.
Yeah.
We just put a little bit of panel bond all around here to help seal it, and the panel bond is meant to be as strong as welding, so it will strengthen all that side there too, and that way I've done minimal damage. Let that dry, and then we can paint it obviously so it doesn't rust, and put it on the car.
That's all. She's mounted up. That's all I've got so far.
Pat's trying to get that piping to work from the airbox through the turbo, and Nick's wiring up these gauges. So from quick as, I got a SAS four-wheel drive pillar mount gauge thing. So it'll fit the two 52mm red arc gauges, and then it'll just mount up on the pillar there. And Nick's just building it all now.
Little build going on. Little build series.
So there's going to be a bit of wiring here, is there? Like, do all
Yeah.
of those wires have to go to, you know, power on and...
Oh no, some of them are just plug in, but I've got to run them all down, and this one goes to something, this one goes to something.
So I've got 4 gauges.
Yes.
What do you need them for?
So the only 2 that you really need would be boost and EGT. The other ones are just precautionary. You already have oil pressure, you already have water temp, but
Just extra
they're
ones.
just 30-year-old gauges. You don't like. I wouldn't always trust the GQ Patrol gauge, so they're just a little bit more reliable. You really need to monitor the EGTs. So
Which is exhaust gas temperature, so what
Yeah.
the temperature is coming out the manifold there.
yeah, because look, the motor's made out of metal, yeah?
Yeah.
When an engine goes, it makes fire, which makes heat. Metal melts. If you get that thing up high enough, you're going to melt a hole in the piston. Engine's
Yeah.
going to be shagged.
So what sort of EGT temps do you want to look out for?
Look, in the dump pipe, so after the turbo, so that's already had a second to go through the turbo and then come out and cool a little bit, you want it max about 500, 550 for a short period of time.
So if you see that temperature, what do you do?
Back off.
Yeah.
Get off the loud pedals.
And what about boost? What's the idea? What do you need a boost gauge for? What's that do?
You don't really need it, but it's good safety. Like if you know your car runs 20 pounds of boost, all of a sudden your boost gauge isn't running any boost. It's just
Yeah.
going to be adding heaps of black smoke, fuel coming out of it.
Yeah.
The EGTs are going to be real high because you've got a boost leak. So if you know you've got a boost leak, then you fix it. Also, if you drive around with a boost leak and it's a big boost leak, your turbo will just spin and it explodes. Everyone likes it. It goes up. It looks cool.
And then oil pressure is when you snap the crank in too.
Oh, oil pressure.
You'll see oil pressure disappear and you turn it off real quick.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
It's mostly just precautions, mostly.
Tyler proof it.
Yeah, you got to Tyler proof it, mate. That's the big trouble. This young bloke, mate.
He's there.
He's there. He's
Bent
paired.
these a little bit. Look at that. Got some real estate. Made it work. We overcome, improvised, and adapted. We can bolt this in here.
And what's that, a lift pump?
Yeah.
And what's the idea behind it?
A more reliable fuel flow for a big pump, and it'll also increase the lifetime use of the pump. Like you service your car, and you know you normally got to pump up.
Yeah.
You just turn the key on, mate. It pumps it full for you.
Are we going to put it there?
Yeah, I think so.
And this is where the fuel filter is going to go? Fuel filter,
I
lift
think
pump.
So. Yeah.
Found a spot, made it work.
That's how I think it's pretty much going to stay, is something like that.
And then all the gauges are wired up.
Everything's wired up.
It's all done.
It's all done.
Yeah, there they are.
Lit up.
They're on.
It's Christmas in.
Christmas in the car.
Tried to allow to have like 40 mil of pipe, you know, either side of the silicon.
Because obviously it has to be fully watertight.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're in for a bad time.
There you go. Intake pipe. Done.
Beautiful. So that's obviously where the engine's going to breathe all the air now, and then fully sealed all the way through down to the turbo. So that's most of the stuff in here done now, isn't it? Like on the engine side of
Other
things.
than wiring, yeah, the whole engine, other than putting the sump on and the oil drain,
Yeah.
is done.
So now we're mostly working underneath. And the next job today is we're going to get under the car and pull out the gearbox and transfer case. So then first job of getting the gearbox out, Zach's in here pulling the things apart. So the bolts for the gearbox are here, are they?
Yeah, so the surround for the shifters, there's a couple of 10mm header bolts just all around. So we just got to lift up the vinyl, get them out, pull the boots up, and this whole tin piece comes up. And then this normal selector here has got a circlip that you just got to pop out, the shifter comes out. Then the one for the four-wheel drive shifter you get from downstairs underneath the car. Alright, that's the other part, and then down here we've got a little boot that covers that from dust and moisture. And then down here that holds the shifter in, we've got a circlip, so we'll need to pop that out and then the shifter will come out. So that's the circlip off. Get this rag for any gearbox juice that wants to come out with it. Taking these shafts out, bruh. Then the next thing I'm going to do is get the starter motor. So the starter motor bolts in through the gearbox, so it comes in through the front, and there's three bolts that hold it. Starter bolt number 1.
And then you just let it dangle with the plugs and stuff on it.
Yep, they're tough as.
Yeah.
But the only reason why I pull it all the way out is because if it drops from that height, it'll rip them straight out. But
yeah,
they're right to dangle like that. Got to take the slave cylinder off right here. I've got to undo the 4-wheel drive shifter, and then we can undo the cross member, the rest of the bell housing bolts and the wiring, and then it can come out.
So what's happening now, Zach?
So old Daddy Paddy's just pulled the clutch plate and pressure plate out.
So that's what came off first, was it?
Yeah, so that's the clutch plate there.
Yeah.
And that's your pressure plate. So now we're just going to take the flywheel off, so then we can get it machined. Some clutch kits come with a new flywheel.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't, unless you buy special ones. And she does.
So you just get this machined when you do a new clutch?
Yeah. You get that machine flat, they're a bit gritty, so then it bites. But then you disengage and engage.
And this is the rear main seal and rear main carrier. That's why we left the sump off, because normally you have some bolts that go up through the sump and the sump gasket into this little rear main carrier, like housing.
But yeah, there's a lip on the, like a groove in the crank here.
Yeah.
Where that seal runs.
Yeah.
And if there's a groove in that, the rear main's never going to seal properly. So luckily we got 2 gaskets for the rear main to space it out past it. So yeah, like it's a decent groove.
So that's the new rear main there.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what actually seals the oil from coming out of the back.
And you don't replace that seal, you just get a whole new unit there.
So the one we put on was genuine, and this one is not a genuine one. No good.
Now we've got to clean up where the old gasket sat on the sump, so you can put a fresh gasket on. Is that right, when you put the sump back on?
Seal the bottom of that rear main up too, because the sump runs there.
Yeah.
As well.
Brand new, mate.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a bought one.
Yeah, straight from this one.
Look at that.
So how come spudgy end gasket?
You want the leak?
No, I can't say I do, to be honest.
May either that's why we spudgy and gas.
Some people just say gasket. We say spudgy and gasket.
And look, I've done a fair few, and yeah, they don't leak.
It's coming back together. And there's that's for the oil return on the turbo there.
Correct.
Is that officially turbocharged or what?
I think some would say, yeah.
Button her up, slap her out the door, mate.
That's your clutch.
Presses against the fingers. The clutch.
That's right out, eh?
Spigot bush. Clutch aligning tool. Throws gold, bro. So we don't want to touch any of this friction material with dirty hands, because it will contaminate the friction material.
So this clutch is this is the new one we got. It's a 4-terrain ultimate. Does anyone remember what it was rated to?
795 newton meters.
So the other option was like an MPC Viper clutch or something.
Yeah.
They're like 1200.
It was like triple the price. It was obviously handle much more, but triple the price. And they come with a new flywheel. But yeah, anyways, that was just a cheaper option and it was going to do what I needed it to do.
Yeah, pretty much. So what we're going to do now is just replace the spigot bush. I've already bled it with engine oil and we're going to knock it in here. And you want that to sit right about flush, the end of the crank. So what that spigot bush does is when you disengage and engage the clutch, it takes up those vibrations and supports the input shaft.
Won't stop the crank from snapping, I got one.
So freshly machined flywheel back from the shop.
Bolt him on, run the bolts in all evenly, tighten him up, make sure she's all tight after I've run it in with a rattle gun. Ready? After you've torqued it and everything, you just want to go up and wipe it all over with some brake clean, get any dirty handprints off it so it doesn't contaminate the friction material on there.
You don't want
Clutch
any
plate.
oils from your hands or...
Yeah, so it's pretty sensitive.
Yeah. So that looks like a lot of Loctite, but it's like... Well, maybe that one was. But put that in there. Start putting some bolts in. So like if you tighten all them, these fingers are going to move in. Even when the clutch aligning tool's in there, I like to just make sure it's not wriggling around very much. So you want to do them up all evenly, sort of thing. Tighten up one bolt too much, because then, you know, you can wreck all this. You can just look that through the input shaft is going to go straight through
Yeah.
and line up. Usually when you've got this in there anyway, it's close enough.
Yeah.
But it's just to ensure that you get proper alignment. And then you can also feel the fingers and make sure they're all flat and even.
So is that ready for a gearbox to come in now?
It is.
Beautiful.
That's your throw-out bearing that pushes on your fingers, that Zach put in there.
Yeah.
And then these wear, and in there wears, and this little ball wears. So we've got all that so that your clutch is going to be good as.
And then that's the new one. So that's where the pivot ball sits in, and that spring
There's a cup, and that spring stops
keeps
it from falling off.
So yeah, I'm going to put some grease in here too, because that's a grease track and that slides over this. And a quick note, because there's going to be excess grease all over the splines from when you put the throw-out bearing on that sleeve, wipe it off, because it'll contaminate your friction material on your clutch plate. Not a good time. Some manufacturers tell you to grease the input shaft splines and some tell you don't. So
That makes it.
we're just going to go with the knot.
Been at it already, had my tarot read. Things are looking up for me, that's what my tarot said. Been pumping out pheromones and wearing red. Young Jerry Lolliver King, but they're not aware of it. $40 to show money, that's what they stole from me. Blow it all rolling, guess I roll funny. Go find me a snow bunny, ask if it's cold.
Ready for action.
You know, young boy Zachy, he's the TD box king.
Yeah. You get them done real quick.
Prop the front of the engine up so the back tilts down,
Yeah.
and then you've got plenty of room. Look, that just fell in.
This exhaust that went in, so this came from High Performance Diesel as well. And what'd you say it was?
It's a Redback Extreme. They fit GU, GQ. GQ needs a little bit of modification, but they pretty well fit.
Yeah, we just had to switch a couple of brackets around a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a pretty high quality exhaust. They've got 4-bolt flanges, so you don't have as many gasket blowouts. Like these normally don't have a problem at all.
Yeah.
They use all their own mounts, so they've got a Toyota style, these little square 4-bolt mounts.
Yeah.
They're real rigid, they're like a Toyota style mount, they're a good mount.
And is this a 3-inch exhaust?
3-inch.
Just
Yeah.
acting different. Living in my minutes, I'm catalytic. That's why they love to jack the style like it's on a Civic. I will never pull the strings like an oligarch. I do my dance at the club with the lonely hearts, watching all these little men try and be Bonapartes and make the rest of us.
Quick update, then we'll start. So I ended up leaving yesterday afternoon because I had to get Kai from school. So the boys finished up a heap of stuff while I was away. So obviously all the cars back together now. So gearbox transfers in, engine oil you've put coolant in.
Coolant and water's in, yeah.
Yeah, and we did the exhaust and stuff. And other than that, we're ready to start the car now.
Yeah, so I've already primed up the whole fuel system. It should be pretty well ready to go.
First start of the big
First
GQ
start,
turbo.
mate.
Run.
That's it. It runs. Good news. What's the next step? Like, there's a bit of wiring fiddling around. Bleed the cooling system.
Check all your gauges work correctly.
Sounds good. Big turbocharged GQ. Big turbocharged forklift.
We're at 35 on water temp, so water temp obviously works.
So what would I not want it to, what would I get to and be like, alright,
I back off my car at 100.
Yeah, once it gets, so yeah.
So like, the factory specs says 118.
Yeah.
But water boils at 100, so I'll back off at 100.
Yeah.
But like the pressure from the cooling system, when the cap and that, the more pressure that's in there, the higher the boiling point gets, so it won't be 100.
Yeah.
But if I say 100 degrees, I'll back off.
Yeah, okay. And what do I want the EGTs to not get past? Like 5?
5.
Yeah.
550 for a short period of time, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's it. Bit of soot out the back. So what's this you're putting on now?
Boost T.
And what's that do? Just controls the boost.
Yeah, lets you adjust it. I'm sort of just rolling into it, so that it's not like hard.
Not stressing it out too much.
Yeah, I don't want to beat on your clutch.
Yeah.
Fast enough for you.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a tractor now. So we're just saying for the first test drive now, what are we checking for really? Just
I'll just bed my clutch in a little bit.
making sure it works.
Checking that everything's happy, no burst leaks.
Yeah, see if we can blow any pipes off or anything. It's crazy how much difference that is compared to non-turbo.
Mind you, that was like a quarter throttle the whole time.
Yeah.
That wasn't like flat dippy.
So it's still got heaps more in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was literally barely accelerating because
We don't want to blow anything. Yeah. Yeah, because this car was so slow before. Like, this thing with 35s was a joke. But yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. So much faster now. So Nick's just had to adjust a couple of settings on those gauges. So put the boost to 24. And so I kind of like it, but how they beep at you, because a lot of time you're not going to be looking at them.
Yeah.
So at least they beep at you if something's going beyond your set parameters. So you can pretty much set them to beep at you at whatever you want.
Yeah.
But that's good, but I like that.
That'll be right, yeah.
Once again, fair bit of fiddly, slow stuff going on, so there's not heaps to film. We're not really even doing turbo stuff at the moment. The last couple of hours have just been literally tidying things up, tidying up a whole heap of wiring. Nick got these wired up, so we got working all the lights now. There they are. Yeah, they work good. Did the aerial, I accidentally broke it already. It was in the boot with a spare tyre rolled on it. Snapped it, but we glued it, taped it back up. That'll be good. LED whip install, just to see how many people I can upset with that on. Obviously that's just, that just pulls off and then unplugs there at the plug, so that won't be on. Just for the laughs here and there, you know, not all the time. I think Savo were doing the rear bar, but I'll probably film that and put that in another video, not this turbo video. It's just, oh man, that looks good. She ready for Christmas.
Ready to jingle.
And then what, we got to give her a Birdo hot tune on the road. We'll go through how you sort of tune them, because so when you turbo a car, like the ideal thing is to go to a tuner.
Yeah, if you got no idea at all, don't even bother.
Yeah, don't drive it.
Oh, yeah. If you just straight turbo it and you're not putting like a fuel pump or anything on, you can drive it because it's going to be safer. You're going to have like extra air, so you'll have less fuel. Won't be anything to worry about, but if you put like a big fuel pump on and a turbo and you've got no idea about anything to do with tuning, then don't attempt it.
You blow it up.
Heaps of things can happen, and it's better off just paying someone. Like getting one of these tuned is a lot cheaper than getting a new car tuned.
Yeah.
It's like half the price, if that. We're really not going to have to do that much. I'm pretty much should just be able to set the boost, and then if I can't just set the boost because there's too much fuel, I'll go through how to make these have less fuel. Because they come pretty well set. Like you tell the dude what you want, and he does it on like a pump dyno.
She go fast.
A lot faster than she was.
Yeah. Yeah, so 24 pounder boost, 400 EGT is what we're seeing so far.
Which is like safe.
Yeah, okay.
Safe-ish, like anything.
Yeah, so it's time for a drive now. What are you doing? You're getting up to temp?
Yeah, well, we're pretty well up temp. I just loaded it up that hill.
Getting up temp, loading it up, testing, seeing what figures all the gauges are giving. So, because as long as you got all those gauges and you can get your EGTs and boosts and everything, you can sort of like tune it and set it yourself to like just a safe zone.
Yeah. So you go find a big hill. Like I was in 4th gear. Normally driving you'd be in 3rd.
Yeah.
So just load it right up, and the more load you have, the hotter your EGT is going to get. So like,
yeah, okay. So you try and like put it under a strain, and then see what it does.
Yeah. So I want to make it as safe for you as like what's possible.
Because I've been driving a petrol GU on the limiter everywhere.
Yeah,
so
it's a whole different life.
I don't want to be driving this like that, or I'll blow us clean through the roof.
Yeah. Like these, you're better to keep them revving, like lower gear, higher revs, will be lower EGTs.
Yeah, okay.
So like I'd say this is probably around that 180, 200 horsepower mark.
Yeah, okay. So now back, pull the top off that fuel pump.
So we've got that now. I'll go get a shim out of my toolbox and we'll compare sizes.
So once you add another shim, that will take a bit of fuel out, is that right?
Yeah.
Take a little bit out of the fuel pump, then take it for another drive. And what are you hoping to achieve with taking a little bit of fuel out? Just hopefully a little bit lower on the EGT, or it could be just how this turbo and stuff sits.
Yeah, I want to make it Tyler proof. You're not going to use a race tractor. So that's what was in there to start with. 4 shims. So if I pull these little fellas out. 450.
So that's it, big turbo job done.
Yeah. That'll be night and day for you. You won't.
Oh yeah, that's all I need. It's not a race car.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of power to get up and out of things.
So at some point in time, I should take it to a tuner to check.
It'll be pretty good, but
Yeah.
if you do want, are you going to go to a tuner one day?
Oh, I'll see.
Because if you do, I'm going to put bets on somewhere between 180, 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
But I reckon the AFR is probably like 21 to 1. You got it on camera?
Yeah, I got it 21 to 1.
21 to 1.
Alright.
I reckon there's something around that.
Yeah.
Might be 20 to 1. It'll be pretty close around there, I reckon. So if it's bang on what I say is that tuner, mate, we know.
Yeah.
We know Birdo knows.
Yeah. Big 7 days working on the GQ. Got it back now, taking Demi and Zeph for the first drive in it. So cool, it's just a completely different car. It's changed it so much. There's so much power now. Big turbo install done. Massive thanks to the boys at S&P that helped me and got it all done, did an amazing job, and High Performance Diesel, awesome kit I got from there, which provided most of the parts, and obviously there was that extra stuff I had to buy myself too, but definitely made it a lot easier sort of having a kit that covered most of the stuff. So the car's just about built now. I got to put a winch on it. It's coming up end of November, and January I'm off to Tassie. By the time you see this video, I would have already probably been in Tassie, because this video is going to be a while till it comes out. That's it. Big GQ turbo.
Give us your best Billy G.
Billy G.
Into the microphone, mate.
No, I am the one.
King of Cups, he comes up.
Billy!
Always, always, always.
God bless.
But yeah, Pat's trying to get that piping work from the turbo. But yeah, Pat's trying to get that piping to work from the turbo through to. Yeah, Pat's trying.
Living in my minutes, I'm catalytic. That's why they love to jack the style like it's on a Civic. I will never pull the strings like an oligarch. I do my dance at the club with the lonely hearts, watching all these little men.